Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is Taylor Hutchinson, owner of TH Fitness.
And I am Bethany, a coach and trainer here at TH Fitness.
And I'm Austin Fritsch, also a nutrition coach and personal trainer here.
And this is our trainer talk where every single week we get together and we come up with a topic and try to deliver anything to do with health and fitness for you guys to teach you more about that so that you can reach your goals. So today's topic is actually going to be about getting uncomfortable. Basically jumping out of your comfort zone in order to reach your goals and achieve success. This can be applied to anything in your life. We are going to be talking about it more in the lines of health and fitness, but we will tie it into so we can show you how it will apply to everything that you're doing in life, how you have to kind of jump out of your comfort zone to reach whatever goal you may have. An example, when you're starting a new job or you're going to the gym for the first time, whatever it may be, you could get nervous and it could be uncomfortable feeling like you don't want to do it, you're not sure what's going to happen or what the people are going to be like, all those kinds of things, and you need to just kind of get out of that comfort zone and jump in and do it. And then after you do it, you'll learn to become more comfortable with it. So unfortunately, a lot of times, we're kind of primed as humans to be comfortable. We want to sleep in, we want to eat junk food, we want to watch TV all day, we don't want to go to work. We want to try to live as just comfortable as possible. And the problem is, you'll never succeed or achieve anything in life if you're constantly living in that comfortable state. If you're not doing the things that you need to be doing, you're not going to get anywhere. So we want to try to give you guys a little information and insight on why being uncomfortable is actually a good thing to help you achieving your goals and achieving anything in life. So something that I just put down, like it's kind of uncomfortable to go to the gym for the first time, like I said, or to start eating healthier foods or like starting a diet plan. It's uncomfortable to go to bed early and have a bedtime and wake up really early. Something for me that I'd like to talk about is some of the things that I had to overcome that were uncomfortable at first. So waking up really early, was something that was very challenging for me, and it wasn't very comfortable. I didn't like getting up early. I liked sleeping in. In college and in high school, it was so hard for me to get up, and I adopted the habits where I was staying up late and I was sleeping in, and I wasn't eating very healthy. So waking up early was one of them. Being in front of a crowd, so doing something like this was something that made me very, very nervous for a long, long time. So that was uncomfortable for me, or speaking in public, anything like that. Setting a schedule, so planning out your day was something that I never did. So it was uncomfortable for me when I started journaling and writing out my schedule and making a calendar and things like that. Like, it was something that wasn't natural for me to do at first, like some other people might have. Eating healthy and cutting out junk food. This is something, a lot of people see me as like the fitness guy, and I'm this gym owner, and I'm super fit and healthy and all this stuff, but I wasn't always like that. I had to start somewhere. And actually, for those of the people that do know me really well, like my family and some of my friends, like, I'm actually one of the biggest like junk food eaters. When it's around me, like, I'm gonna have some, especially in holidays and stuff like that. And you just have to learn to kind of take away that stuff and it's uncomfortable at first because you like to turn to that kind of food and things like that because it's comfort food. You might have heard that term before. So eating healthy and changing my habits like that was something that I had to do and overcome. Another thing is like going to bed early and not watching TV. I love watching movies. I'm a huge movie guy. And so I used to love to watch a movie every night before bed, and now I had to kind of wean away from it and just limit how much I'm spending my time watching TV. Now I read a book before bed and I go to bed early. I just want to tell you guys that it was not natural, it was uncomfortable, and it's something that I had to learn and do over and over again. And that's actually kind of how you develop habits. So you don't really develop a habit until you go through this stage of uncomfortability, right? So like, it's uncomfortable for your first month going to the gym, but after that, you get more used to it. You get to know the people, you like the workouts, how you feel afterward, and then you become comfortable with it, and then it becomes a habit, is kind of how I see it. I'll go ahead and let these guys explain some of the things that maybe make them comfortable or uncomfortable and how they've overcome some things that they've had to work on as well. So Bethany, if you want to to talk about some of the things that you have.
Yeah, for sure. So one of them for me was drinking enough water and drinking more like water and just liquids in general, instead of just like drinking whatever I had to. I mean, a part of getting over that uncomfortableness was understanding why I needed to drink more. When I was younger, my parents can attest to this, that it was like pulling tooth and nails trying to get me to drink water. I would drink lemonade, which, looking back, is full of sugar and not good, but when you're a kid...
Which makes you feel comfortable. The sugar, it makes you feel good.
And want it
releases
more.
that dopamine, so you want more. So it makes you feel comfortable, and that's what kind of leads people down the rabbit hole of being kind of lazy to an extent, or turning to sugar, because it makes them feel comfortable.
Yeah, like no wonder I wanted that and not water, because water didn't have sugar in it, or it didn't taste good, you know? So then I started off by, okay, I'm gonna put lemon and lime in my water, just to give it some sort of flavor, and like that actually really helps with it. But, you know, it was a conscious effort of like, okay, I'm going to do whatever it takes for me to drink more water. Like, some people disagree, says that water doesn't have a taste. I believe water has a taste, and yes, it's bottled water that I drink. It's not, you know, there's bad things in plastic and whatever, which for me, it's a win just to get enough water. So no, I'm not really worried about that, but I end up pouring the water bottle into like my water jug, so that I carry it around with me, like always have water on you. Always having it like by your bedside, so you get up in the morning and drink water, and like you just make a conscious effort throughout the day to drink more, and then it kind of snowballs into like you're finally able to drink that gallon a day, or you're able to drink like more, and you're not just drinking like pop, or you're not just drinking lemonade like I used to. And it's actually really dramatically like improved like my health, my energy. And like you don't need to use as much chapstick. It's a weird thing, but like it's just, you're not as dry. Like your skin is like less dry.
Hydrates the skin.
Yeah, hydrates the skin. And then with that, like reading before bed versus like what you had said, like watching TV or YouTube. I'd gotten into a habit of that with like falling asleep, like watching TV. Like that was how I would I got into the habit of like that's what would put me to sleep. I would like listen to it, and then that's what would like help me fall asleep, because I could close my eyes and not like listen or pay attention to anything. Like I could just shut my brain off, listen to it, and that's how I fall asleep. And then to start building in the habit of reading before bed instead of, you know, getting that blue light, which we had talked about in our sleep trainer talk before, I started doing, okay, I'm going to read a page, then I can watch my YouTube before I go to bed. Okay, so now I'm going to read a little bit longer, then I'll watch, you know, my show. But then there gets a certain point where like you don't even want to watch the show anymore. Like I just want to read, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of tired now, I want to go to bed. And to satisfy like listening to something to fall asleep, I put on a sleep meditation thing that says, okay, now we're going to focus on breathing, you're going to focus on relaxing your body, and before I know it, I'm out. And it allows my brain to like focus on something, and then also just learn how to like quiet my mind. And like I don't even want to watch TV before I go to bed anymore. It's just like, okay, I want to read, and then I want to turn on my meditation and go to sleep. And it's like habitual now.
Yep. So it became a habit, and you slowly progressed into it. So after a little while, kind of, it almost, and when we say uncomfortable, it's just different. It's not something you're used to. So like reading before bed, if she was not used to that, and maybe didn't even look forward to it, but she just made herself do it because she knows the benefits of reading before bed, or just wanting to learn more information. So just making yourself do that and kind of being disciplined and getting into that comfort, out of her comfort zone of watching TV before bed, she was able to learn that habit, and then all of a sudden it switched.
Yeah.
And now reading is probably a habit, and watching TV is not even on her mind.
Yeah, like that's my comfort zone now.
Yeah.
Like I'm in the comfort zone of like reading before bed and then falling asleep. Like I don't even know if I could I could force myself to not read before bed, but it's like, why? You know, like why? There's no reason to not read before bed now, and I enjoy it, and I look forward to that because it helps. Like I used to think that watching TV and just like letting my mind like go numb basically and just like veg out was like the way to relax and rewind, like unwind after a long day of, you know, being at the gym and, you know, working out and everything, like I thought that's what I needed to rest and recover, but I feel more rested, recovered, and like relaxed from reading, and it's something that I look forward to. It's like, I mean, you look forward to watching your TV and getting like that little boost of like dopamine, doing those like little exciting things. Well, now the dopamine comes from reading, so now I read even more. Like I'll read like in the morning sometimes, or I'll read like just throughout the day if I have time. So it like kind of ends up compounding on itself, and growing.
And that could be used with anything, like with fitness, for example. Like maybe you want to start out just doing 5 minutes of body weight exercises in the morning, and all of a sudden that becomes so much easier, and it becomes a little bit more comfortable, more natural as you go, and then you increase the amount of time. Maybe then you end up going to the gym and working out at the gym a couple days a week, so it compounds over time, like she said, and it becomes a habit, and it ends up leading to a new comfort zone. Austin, what do you got?
Well, I would just want to start off by saying one of the first people to kind of teach me to get comfortable being uncomfortable was my football coach, Bill Brown. He always said that in practice. He said, you guys got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Yep. So we would do different things during practice to try and make it seem like, kind of feel like a game maybe, or in a different situation that we hadn't been in before. So we would do different things. He would spray the hose, and like the balls would always be soaking wet. So as a running back, I really had to focus on making sure I get the ball up and into my chest and holding onto it well. So that's one thing I wanted to say first and foremost, was like learning that skill, being comfortable, getting comfortable being uncomfortable. It's a skill. It really is. It can be really tough, especially fitness and nutrition wise. Like most recently, you guys know I started my paleo diet, and I'm actually almost done. When I first started, I was really, really uncomfortable because I was like, how am I going to feel full, get my macros down, and like different things like that, eat more vegetables, like, because I'm not a huge vegetable eater. And now I'm a month in pretty much, and I feel like I could eat vegetables anytime. Like, it's way easier already, and like that's a few weeks of just being uncomfortable has made my nutrition increase like exponentially, honestly. So that's one thing like recently that's happened, but in general, I feel like I'm always uncomfortable unless I'm sitting on the couch watching TV. I'm pretty freaking uncomfortable. Like, I'm just an anxious person, so it kind of just runs in my blood. And I've had to find different things to make me feel comfortable. Going to my breath, breathing is like one of the biggest things that's helped me in life so far. Is like when I'm feeling even the slightest bit anxious or off, I'm just like, well, I'm gonna take some really deep breaths here, inhales and exhales really deep. That's one thing that's helped a lot. Just putting myself into new situations though. I like to tell people, you're not going to stimulate your mind if you don't go into a new situation. So trying to put yourself maybe into something new and exciting, it can be so much more beneficial to everything, every aspect of life. You could see improve by just like, going out and doing something that you haven't done before, or trying something new. I like to also say, like, think about it, if you are going to a party and you don't know anybody there, you barely know anybody there, it causes anxiety, you're kind of uncomfortable, you're like, I don't know if I even want to go, you're doubting yourself. But then you go, you meet a few people, have some really good conversations, maybe with some new people that you've never had, and like next thing you know, it was one of the best nights you've had in weeks. So like, just trying to go, like we said, out of your comfort zone is going to be so much more beneficial, especially in fitness and health and everything that is involved with that. Like pushing yourself past a limit that you've hit before, like doing the little things like that. Like, that's how you see progression. I challenge everybody that kind of comes in here and does work out and tries to eat better to try to incorporate one new thing a week or something new and something stimulating every week, just to kind of keep yourself on your toes.
Yeah. I like how Bethany likes to talk about, like, when he said challenge yourself, like introducing something new, it's almost like a little stressor on the body. It's a good stress. She talked about that in one of our last episodes. you need to have a little bit of stress in your body to improve and reach your goals. Like you have to kind of balance the stress, but good stressors can actually lead to progress. So having those little stressors is actually a good thing. And I like to think of the uncomfortability, like almost embrace it and just understand that it's a natural feeling and you will eventually get over it. So like, you know, if you're deciding to work out for the first time and your class is at 5:15 a.m. and you know you have to wake up really early, like a lot of people, it's really, really easy to snooze and then just decide, oh, I don't feel like going. You know, snoozing is almost like a sign of that comfort zone. Like you just want to sleep in a little longer and a little longer. Think of it like embrace it. Like, okay, this is uncomfortable, but I'm going to get up and I'm going to do it. And then once you're there, it's the uncomfortness is kind of gone. Like just get up and get started with anything, you know, with a new job or whatever. You might be uncomfortable, but once you get going, I like to compare it to like a public speaker, you know. Before somebody goes out on stage or wherever they're doing to speak, I'm sure they're going to have a ton of nervousness, they're going to be a little anxious, you know, they might be sweating and just a little bit worried about what they're going to say, if they're going to mess up, whatever. But then once they get out there and they break the ice, and after that first 30 seconds, that nervousness goes away, they're no longer anxious, they're having fun with the crowd, whatever it may be. So just make sure you think about that the next time you're trying something that might be new or uncomfortable for you. Just know that it will eventually become comfortable. That won't last forever. Embrace it. You know, it's actually kind of a positive stressor to the body, just because it's challenging you, and that's what's going to cause you to grow and succeed and develop and progress in life. You have to challenge yourself. You have to kind of learn to live in that uncomfortable state, and that's how you constantly continue to grow throughout life. You know, think about it like almost the analogy of like plants and trees. You know, they're faced with all these constant battles, the weather, the sun, you know, all these things, but they're constantly trying to grow. They're never ever not growing, and so they're kind of battling these uncomfortable situations, but they're constantly trying to grow. You know, I'm sure they would love to be in the perfect weather with, you know, the perfect amount of rain and all that stuff, but that's just not the case. And that's kind of how we try to live our life. We want to try to live our life in this perfect state all the time. But that's not really the key to happiness and growth. So putting yourself in those uncomfortable situations is really, really the key to growth and personal development. So.
And it honestly helps, like, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations or like changing your mindset on it actually helps when something bad really happens. Like, let's say like you lose your job or you get sick or, you know, a family member passes away or something happens that like is really detrimental. And if you aren't like constantly seeking out like the uncomfortable, that's way worse. Like, you don't know how to handle it. People tend to like shut down and like they like lose their function. Like, they don't know what to do. But if take someone that's been, you know, working on like their mindset, they're trying to do things that kind of like keep them in that uncomfortable zone and like really pushing outside of their comfort zone, like they're able to meet it and like, yes, they're still sad and they're, you know, a little bit upset by it, but they know I can still keep moving forward. This is uncomfortable right now, but it's going to get better. It's almost like preparing you for any storms, just like the little things. And like, you can view anything that's like uncomfortable or like something that you would view as like an obstacle as like a challenge. A challenge is going to make you better. So, you know, you go into work one day and you're trying to, you know, stick to this diet and you're, you know, trying to lose weight and get healthier, and someone brings in donuts. So instead of, you know, it's really uncomfortable when you're the only one there with like, you know, you're there with your like your healthy yogurt or your breakfast and everyone else is enjoying a donut, and it's like, it's a social thing and it's also about the food. So you want to be part of the group and you also kind of want the donut, even though you know it's not with your goals, but it's a challenge. If you view it as like something that's really hard and that's like bad and like, oh, I'm missing out and it's going to be like really uncomfortable for me, and like people are going to ask me like, why aren't you having a donut? And if you view it as like a challenge to like your mindset and think like, okay, this is a challenge, it's testing me for, okay, I'm not going to have this donut and that's my choice. It's a challenge to make me better. It's not something that's like, I don't know, that's really, really bad. And Like, don't view it as an obstacle to get to your goals, view it as a challenge. Once you overcome that, it really like lifts you up. But if you view it as an obstacle, you're just gonna get more and more obstacles until you finally break. Because like what happens if you view it as an obstacle and you're like, oh, I made it through. Well, then they have pizza for lunch. Like, you know, if you view it as a challenge, you're like, okay, that's one more challenge for today. And if you view, like, it's all about like mindset. I was listening to a podcast from Ben Bergeron, one of the really famous CrossFit coaches, really good, great personal trainer about like mindset, and he showed this like analogy of, let's say like a person is walking up to a mountain. They see a mountain off in the distance, and that's like their goal. So like, wow, it's gonna be really great to conquer that mountain, climb up it. I'm so excited, I'm ready. I'm just gonna head straight forward. It's gonna be great. Off to the side, there's like this little tiny tree that like you're really not paying attention to because it's small, it's insignificant at that point. Well, as the person's walking closer and closer to the mountain, the tree is coming up. It's actually a lot closer to you and farther away from the mountain than you thought, and then it appeared. And now, all of a sudden, it's huge and it's right in your face, and the mountain is still off in the distance. It's smaller than the tree now in the vision of this person. And, you know, you're seeing that and you're like, well, maybe I should just climb this tree here, and maybe I should just stop here for a bit and rest. And, you know, the mountain's kind of off in the distance still, they're not really thinking about it as much. And this little short-term gratification of climbing this tree, like, I'll still feel accomplished, you know, if I climb this tree, or this will still be pretty good. And that kind of signifies the short-term gratification of that donut, or of that snooze alarm, or not doing the things that are making you uncomfortable. Because the short term, we've been like trained as through evolution to think in the short term, because like you might not be alive in 2 months, like something drastic could happen, or you know, even like 2 weeks or whatever. We're trained to like think of short term, so that's why like these short term things come up of like that's gonna challenge us, like the pizza and the donuts, and like that's right in our face right now. Losing 30 pounds, getting to that like body that you want, or improving your health, really like feeling how you want to about yourself, that's off in the distance. This is here right now. This is going to give me satisfaction right now. This is going to give me satisfaction later. And it's all about like the mindset of, nope, I'm still heading towards the mountain. That's my bigger goal. Or are you going to say yes to like that tree that's right in your face right now? Like, when it's in your face, it's hard to kind of like deny it, but you have to like keep in mind that there's a different goal that's long term, and it's really challenging to do just because of like how we're wired. But once you kind of like get into the habit of doing it, like you do it more and more, it becomes almost like second nature to do it.
Yeah. And to add to that, like when you do say no and you kind of beat that challenge of giving in to the donut or whatever it could be, the satisfaction that you'll get from saying no and sticking to your goal or your plan, you'll feel better than if you didn't have the donut. Like the satisfaction that you're going to get from that sugar hit is going to be less than by saying no and sticking to it and accomplishing that little challenge. You're actually going to feel good from that too. That you'll get a hit of dopamine because you're going to feel accomplished of yourself for, you know, sticking toward looking at that bigger picture, like she said. So I really like that you said that. Anything else you want to do?
Yeah, no, that was great. I think just any goal that you set in life, you're gonna have obstacles, you're gonna have challenges come up, and like we said, you gotta learn that being uncomfortable isn't a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing. It's something that's necessary to grow as a person, mentally, physically, both. Like you have to kind of put yourself out of a comfort zone, out of what you do every day normally. Those habits, trying to break habits it's super, super tough, and it can seem daunting, and like some days are better than others, but like you said, the gratification that you get at the end of and actually accomplishing that goal is so much more worth it than just giving into it, a little obstacle or a little challenge.
Yep, exactly. If you want like a hack to kind of get over these uncomfortable feelings, one of my mentors, Alex Ramosi, said that he uses the 1,000 rule. So basically, he thinks to himself, if he's in an uncomfortable situation, or if there's anything going on in his life, you know, if that thing happened 1,000 times, let's say you're getting up to go to the gym for the first time. After 1,000 times of getting up and going to the gym, are you still going to be uncomfortable doing it? Are you still going to not want to do it? No, you're going to train your mind. It's going to be a habit. You're going to have no issue whatsoever getting up and going after 1,000 times. So if you can just think to yourself, after 1,000 times of getting up and doing this, if it's going to be easy, if it's going to be a habit, why not just make it a habit now, the first time? Why stress about it and worry and all that stuff if you know that you will eventually get over it after 1,000 times? So if you can train your mind and think about anything in that perspective, you know, after you do something so many times, it's no longer stressful or uncomfortable or, you know, uncommon, whatever. If you can just convince yourself, okay, if I'm gonna get over this eventually, why not just basically get over it and just do it right away?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I really liked that when he said that, because you can use that for anything in life that comes up. You know, any kind of stressor, maybe it's an argument. You know, if you have the same argument 1,000 times, you're no longer gonna have the argument. So you can kind of get past that, or maybe forgive someone or whatever, just based off of that. So use that little hack if you want, if you're coming up with something that's uncomfortable or uncommon in your life. And if you're somebody that maybe needs help with overcoming some of these challenges or obstacles, or if you're uncomfortable and you need somebody to guide you, I mentioned that I have a mentor, she's got a mentor, and we listen to people that inspire us. We're here to inspire and teach you guys that don't really know maybe enough about nutrition or enough about fitness, or maybe you're not sure what to do to challenge yourself. We're here as coaches to help you guys do that, and we've developed a coaching system that, like Austin said, it introduces one new challenge every 2 weeks. You know, we teach you one new habit every 2 weeks to introduce a little challenge, and after you get through all those challenges, you've learned enough to where you can do things on your own, you're comfortable with them, and not just that, but you're also reaching your goals. You're getting closer to that mountain. So we have put the system in place. Like we've said in the past, it's not one of those quick fixes, those short-term little obstacles. You know, when you come upon the first thing, you're not just satisfied. We're looking at the mountain, the long-term picture, and we've developed a system to get you there. So if you need help with anything like that, with your health and your fitness, accountability, nutrition, whatever it may be, don't hesitate to reach out. That's what we're here for, and we will give you those little challenges. We'll give you the information you need to overcome those, and to get more comfortable with your nutrition and your fitness, everything like that. So with that being said, is there anything else you guys want to add? Or?
One last thing.
Okay.
When these little challenges come up, you're going to ask yourself in your head, why? Why am I doing this? Why do I want to lose those 30 pounds? Like, is it really worth it to lose, you know, not eat the cookies and have whatever I want and have the beer and not work out and just relax and veg out all day to lose 30 pounds? Like, is that worth it? And you really need to know your why and have it be a strong enough reason for when you come up with these obstacles that you're going to be able to overcome them. You're saying, no, I have this reason, this is why I'm doing it, and nothing can kind of stop you at that point, which we can get into next week.
Yes, so everything that we just talked about for the last 20, 25, whatever minutes, it's all dependent on your why. None of this even matters if you don't have a reason to do it. None of it. You have to have a reason to put yourself in these uncomfortable situations. You have to have a reason to get healthy or work out, whatever it may be. So we're going to go over your why and some strategies that you can utilize to find out your why, and then also some tips and stuff to constantly remind yourself of it, so that way you can reach your goals and understand why you're doing it, and then it'll be way easier to say no to those obstacles and challenges that do come up along that journey. So stay tuned for that next week. Every Wednesday we record this and we put it up on our YouTube channel. So if you need to watch our old ones, go back. This is our episode 13, I believe. So thanks for tuning in. I'm Taylor Hutchinson.
I'm Bethany.
And I'm Austin.
And we'll see you guys next time. Stay healthy. Later.